What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we're going to watch A24's new movie, Iron Claw. If you haven't seen Iron Claw is about the true story of the inseparable Von Erich brothers, who make history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. Through tragedy and triumph, under the shadow of their domineering father and coach, their brothers seek larger-than-life immortality on the biggest stage in sports. This is a fun episode. We really enjoyed this movie. In today's episode, we discuss and break down the depiction of living in that kind of harsh, demanding, and tragic life. We talk about the meaning behind some of the unique cinematography choices that the filmmakers used. We watched some of the old WWF promos to see if the movie did them justice, and we even give each other the Iron Claw just to see how effective it is. If you haven't seen Iron Claw, again, there will be spoilers in this episode, so proceed with caution, and without further ado... And we're back. We just watched Iron Claw. That was a great movie.
Said it with a lot of enthusiasm right there, but I gotta say, this one was emotionally draining.
You had some tears coming down.
I mean, yeah. I have no shame in saying it. That one got me.
That could have gotten me. I was close to getting teary-eyed. I was pretty close to getting teary-eyed. There at the end, it was getting real sad.
Dude, that movie got me.
Because there's so many ups and downs. The beginning is, you see their rise to fame, their success, and you know the struggle they're going through. So you just know that the tragedy's coming because the dad's pushing them so hard.
Yeah. As far as a movie goes, agreed. You can kind of see the progression of that. But yet, again, I have messed up by not doing the proper research going into a movie like this. I was very taken aback.
Yeah. So what do you think before this movie? What do you think about the history of the Von Erich family?
Just short and short, here are the facts that I knew. I knew that the family was from Denton. All right.
Shout out Denton. That was pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Green. Caw! Go Mean Green forever.
The Iron Claw.
Yeah. I knew it took place in Denton, which that was really cool. That's where we all went to college, and
where we became
met
brothers.
Each other. That's big part of my life. So I was like, oh, that's really cool that there's such a cool story.
What was a cool story?
So that was fact number one. Fact number two, which there's just no way I heard this right, obviously, but fact number two, going into this movie for me, I was thinking.
You keep talking.
Only one brother commits suicide. And I couldn't have been more wrong. In fact, not even suicide. I only thought one brother died.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
you just assumed it was probably going to be Zac Efron?
No, I assumed it was...
I guess when the first brother died?
I assumed the first brother died, and I was like, whew, that was tough. But it's got to go uphill from here. And obviously, I got emotionally wrecked on that. I mean, what a terrible, tragic story.
It is 3 out of 4 brothers. No, 4 out of 5 brothers died.
Yeah.
They had the little baby brother died when he was 5 years old. The Von Erich curse started there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you imagine being a brother of... imagine all your siblings dying.
Can you imagine? So I thought that was I thought this was a very interesting point of the movie. Yeah, I guess it's probably a little self-evident, but so Zac Efron goes on to admit to the female character, Lily James.
That's her.
That's her from Baby Driver. Lily James.
The poster's right here. That's why he was looking.
He goes on to admit to her, on their first date, that, my baby brother died when I was 5 years old. Or my older brother died when I was 5 years old. And from that moment on, people would say, your family's cursed. So you hear that when you're 5 years old, and then bad stuff keeps happening to you and keeps happening to you. I feel like that would make you question your reality, which essentially it did.
Because it kind of forces the brothers to give up early in their life because, like, give up on life and be willing to commit suicide because their father's also hard on them about it. Mm-hmm. The father is also always talking about how the world's fucking them. The WWF screwed them over. You know, life's always getting after us. We have to be perfect and work hard and outwork this curse that we have. He's affirming this in their brains their entire life.
Yeah. And so, but you think the reality, like, since you're a kid, you know, it's kind of like religion in a way. Like you're taught something as a kid, and then no matter how far away you stray from it, you're always going to think, is that the reality of like what I'm living in? And so if you're taught as a 5-year-old kid that your family's cursed, like forever moving on and still seeing like terrible things happen to your family, you're just going to be thinking, holy shit, is my reality, like, is my whole life just meant to just go down in flames? And so it's just, you know, the psychology of that, I think, is just wild. I mean, to see, like, you're 5 years old, your oldest brother dies. You don't quite process that, but then as you get older, then you lose the rest of them. I mean, what would you think? I would think the same thing as Zac Efron's character. I would be, like, terrified. I'm like, I'm a curse. There is something wrong with whatever, like, my spirit, presence, my existence, whatever it is on this earth, like, something's wrong. I mean, that's
Well, if you think
terrible.
about it, with what the movie showed, the curse is stemming from the father.
Mm-hmm.
He's pushing the kids too far. He's not understanding.
Yeah, but the problem is that he says, like, the father took on, like, a family name that apparently had already been through some type of turmoil. You never really get much explanation into that.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could look into that, but
I think he must have hated his dad, and so he took his mother's name.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it said whenever he took that name on, like, people were like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure I want to take that name? And that's just, like, it's kind of crazy.
Every fact in your life is reinforcing that curse that you believe in.
Exactly.
It's happening. It's constantly happening.
So, like, how many... Because, like, I mean, think about just, like, a normal family in the world. No normal family in the world sees that much death. Like, really, to put it in perspective, no normal, like, no normal parents bury that many children. So when you do it that many times, you start to wonder, like, is there really a God for me? Or, like, am I truly cursed? Like, is this family is this just a burden of a name to carry on? You
can, like, the mother in the beginning is super cold. She has no sympathy for the kids. There's no real emotion toward them that's loving and caring. Because as you progress, you kind of understand why she's that way. Because think about the trauma she's been through. She's lost a 5-year-old boy. She's lives with a man who has this dream, who's been struggling for a long time to make it happen. And she's committed to him. So she's committed to, you know, watching him fulfill this dream. And he believes very much into it. So he's always pushing hard.
Well, think about this. He always comes so close.
Right.
In fact, he even obtains the dream. And essentially.
And if you think about it, he's a pro wrestler a pro wrestler's part of their profession is to be able to sell themselves. You have to sell yourself in front of thousands of people. And so if you can sell yourself in front of thousands of people, you can sell yourself to a few people. Just talking about your dream and your life and what you want to do.
Yeah.
So she's dealing with that. She knows how important it is to her, to her husband, to get this dream and to have her boys be successful, so that way they can carry on the family legacy. And so she has to kind of turn her head to all the force that her husband's putting on their kids, making them sacrifice their bodies, making them be a pro wrestler. Because a pro wrestler, really, all you're doing is sacrificing your body for entertainment. You're jumping off the ropes, doing crazy shit.
Pushing your body to the limit to look like with that physique.
Right. So she's having to turn her head to her kids all the time. So she has to just become this hardened person who has no real sympathy, because if she allows herself to feel the emotions that she should be feeling, she's not going to be able to handle it, and she's not going to be able to be with her husband, and then probably that means she also can't be with her kids because he would probably take them. So she has to become this hardened woman. In the beginning, it seems fucked up because you're like, damn, like Zac Efron's going to his mom to go ask her for something, you know, to be like
real motherly advice.
Yes, he's like, hey mom, I've been thinking about something. He's like worried. He's like trying to get to his mother and like have a nice conversation with her, and she won't have it. I don't want to be late. Deal with it's between you and your brother. Just this tough love because she's had to force herself to do it. So now she's like overcorrected for it. Now she's just cold.
Yeah.
That was an interesting character of that, just like harsh life, becoming this hardened, cut off from your emotion woman. But at the end, she starts to paint. So you kind of see her starting to tap back into her softer side.
Well, so there was one moment. So, okay. I guess I'm trying to think of like the order. So she loses her 5-year-old kid. Then the rest of her sons grow up. Any problem that they have with one another, she's the one saying, like, no, y'all figure it out amongst yourselves. She's not listening to them. She'll want to give them advice for whatever reason. Could be because of the husband. Could be because she believes in the curse. She's like, it doesn't matter what I say. It's probably just wrong. And then you get to, it's Michael, right? Mike. He's the youngest. He's the artist, essentially.
The musician.
He's the musician. And he's the first one that like she finally gets close with or like listens to.
What scene?
It's at the dinner table.
When she's talking about her painting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's like, why wouldn't you say that? And then, you know, he says like, I'm scared. And then she's finally there as a mother. But then guess what? He commits suicide. So then, you know, probably just her state of mind, she's like, oh my God, like, there's nothing I can do to like save these boys, save my family, save this name. And it's just a terrible thing to watch.
And you can tell it starts to really get to her because towards the end when she has to bury him, she doesn't want to put on her funeral outfit because she thinks people are going to recognize the outfit. She can't handle people thinking about, oh, she wore that last time to her last son's funeral when she's already probably worn it twice.
Yep. So you just see that, just that kind of breakthrough as a human that's like full of love, but you've pretty much been suppressing it your entire life because you were told to. Just like the sons being told that they're not allowed to cry at the funeral.
Yeah.
Can't wear sunglasses. You can't express that loss.
You got to be tough. If you want to make it in this world, you got to be tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the father says, like, this was the Lord's plan. It was his time to go. So there we go. He's gone. All right. He made it to heaven first, I guess, and now we just continue on.
Now who's gonna be the champion?
Yeah, and then they just get right back to brass tacks, and it's just such a, you know, it's just an interesting way of living, you know, because some people are just, that's just how they're wired. You know, especially I would be more interested in hearing about like the father's like real backstory. Like, where did he come from? Like,
why is he so tough?
Yeah, like, did he lose siblings? Because this is just, for me, you know, I'm so involved in family. Like I have a brother and a sister, love them to death. I'm thinking about them this whole movie, and thinking like, oh my God, like, you know, if I lose either one of them, my world would just come crashing down. You couldn't tell me to not cry at the funeral.
No.
I would. There's no stopping that. But to just be wired that way from birth, I don't know. It's just it's interesting to see, like,
well, think about it.
What humans are capable of.
Right. They've never shown emotion.
Yeah. But the father himself, it's just like, you got to wonder what kind of loss he's seen or hasn't seen.
What do you mean hasn't seen?
Like, maybe he just we're just pulling strings here. I mean, we don't really
Right.
know, because I don't know, but like, what if he just comes from a family, or like, what if he doesn't really come from a family? What if he just never experienced loss like that? Like, what if this is his first time really bringing up a family? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like if it was your first time bringing up a family, being around a family, you would
care more.
Care more, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just not the case.
Yeah, I mean, he was a wrestler back in his day, so it's probably tougher than it was for the boys. Right.
And again, you also have to think about the fact that this is just that time. This was a time where like men were men.
Right.
You know,
And
you don't show emotion. You don't cry in front of women.
Exactly.
You know, you look like a real pansy if you do. And
Yeah.
that's just how the reality was at that point.
And the father knows he achieved the success he achieved in wrestling, but he didn't get to the point that he wanted to get. And so he is looking back on his life, seeing all of his downfalls, all of his weaknesses, where he quit, where he didn't deal with the pain well enough, where he's thinking like, I should have been tougher.
Yeah.
So he's like, boys, you guys need to be tougher than me.
Yeah.
He's essentially just forcing them to be way more into it than he is.
Yeah, he's just saying, if we're tougher now, whereas if we show weakness, we succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty much doubling down, which I think is just like, I think watching the movie, maybe I didn't realize it till now, but I think it is interesting to see like the dad is just constantly doubling down on the curse.
Yeah.
Not realizing that the curse is just within the family, just pushing themselves like way too hard. He did a great job as a father, making sure that all the brothers loved each other, supported each other through what.
I don't even know, but he didn't do that.
He didn't, but like he did, you know, because he is the one that raised him. Like,
Right.
you know, I think you got to give him credit somehow, because like it's just, I think it's the way the movie showed it. So pretty much you got the four brothers. Three of them are just these athletes. One of them is potentially an Olympian.
Mm-hmm. He's going to the Olympics?
Yeah, he's going to the Olympics. Yeah. So you got like these athletes, but then you have kind of the oddball. That's like, he's into music. He's into camera shots. Like,
right.
You know,
he's thinking about the creativity of the sport.
He's like, wow, like that looks so good on screen.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell, son? We don't care about that. We're talking about wrestling.
Which is ironic, though, because if you're going to be the best wrestling organization, you got to think about don't you want your camera shots to look badass?
Yeah, don't you want the crowd to look crazy?
Yeah, it's a production. It's entertainment.
And so, but the brothers didn't care about that, which is like one of the most, that's what makes it more tragic, the story, obviously. I think that definitely rings into why a couple more tears came out of my eyes going into this, because like they truly like just loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
That was all they wanted to do. They just wanted to stay together for the rest of their lives. They go get married. They could have kids. But at the end of the day, they just want to be living on this big ranch, playing football with each other.
But if you think about it, it's almost like the same scenario that you get with the military, or just with our life experience when it comes to joining a fraternity and going through pledgeship when it sucks and you're getting hazed and all that kind of stuff. The dad is almost that figure that the boys only have each other, and the dad's that figure that's pushing them, and it's like their enemy, their adversary all the time. Mm-hmm. So the brothers really only have themselves. So through all this struggle and adversity, they just become close together, because that's all they have. They only have each other. Yeah. They go to the mom. The mom, like we said before, is never there for them.
It's just them.
The dad is never there for them.
It's between them. Yeah.
Between them.
Okay, I do see what you're saying. Yeah.
So they really only have each other all the time, and it's like, they're always sticking up for each other. Always sticking up for each other. They're never talking shit to each other in the movie. They're like, Mikey comes down, he's like, man, I want a burger. He's like, you know what? I'll get you a burger, buddy. Yeah. Let's go get a burger.
I'll eat a burger with you, brother.
Yeah. Always. It's like, oh, we could take Mikey. We could take him to his concert. Yeah. We'll go to the college. It's fine.
We'll sneak him out.
Yeah. You know. So they really only have each other, and I think it's because the dad was so hard and the mother was so cold, they became this incredible bond. And in that, I've noticed this too. This is something about the shots I've noticed. A lot of the wrestling shots, they had it was always focused on the body. The first shot of the movie, when Zac Efron gets up, it's focused on his body. The shot, his head goes out of the shot. He just get out of bed, and it's like a static shot of his fucking massive body. Whenever he loses, I think it's when he loses the last brother, when he starts training really hard, it's only you don't see his face. It's just his body. When he's training, it's his body. When they're playing football with their dad, he's like, "Come on, Mike, you need to lay out for that." It's all about sacrificing your body for wrestling, because wrestling is that.
Yeah.
So the cinematography kind of matched that and showed you it's about like their body. They sacrifice their body, but sacrificing your body and pushing yourself that hard, there's no thought about their mind. Like, what's the mental toll on sacrificing your body that often? What's the mental toll on just pushing yourself that hard without really any love or support or rest?
Yeah. It's all about balance. And I mean, that's just how life is. I mean, if you truly focus on just that, they're not even thinking about like what they really want.
They're neglecting their feelings and only focus on their body and like the world. Like, what can they get?
So, I mean, think about this scene. When it's Zac Efron's character, is it Kevin?
Yeah. Kev?
Yeah. Kev gets married, and then he goes to the bathroom stall and realizes that his brother's just like puking his guts out. And he sits there with him, loves him. He's just like, at the end of the day, like, I just love being there with my brothers. I don't even really care to be like the world champion. And what does his brother say? The first thing he says is, "Damn, you're already losing your competitive edge."
Mm-hmm.
Because that's him being real. He's like, it's not about the wrestling to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that we get to do this together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any of us to like get hurt. I don't want any of us to die. Like, we could be out in the field, and they lived on like a big ranch, and they're having to do like farmer duties, but together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's pretty much saying like, I could just do that.
Yeah.
As long as I'm just with y'all.
Like his future wife said on their first date, older brother syndrome. You want to take care of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to take care of his brothers.
He just wants to be with them.
But he never had a good example of how to be kind and courteous, so he could never really be there for them. When his brother tells him he wants to die and tells him I'm giving up on life, if my brother told me that, my ass is getting in my car and driving as fast as I can to go see him.
It's different though.
Right, but I'm saying because he never had an example. He never had an example of how to love, how to care, how to actually be there for somebody.
Well, it's not to take away from that. He was ready to, but you have to remember, in the grand scheme of things, his brother's just in a hotel in Dallas.
Right.
He has Dallas is a big city. I mean, you can't just go to Dallas and be like, Carrie?
Yeah, Carrie.
Like, Carrie, where are you? You can't just do that. Like, at the end of the day, like, he asked him, he was like, where are you? I will come to you. Just tell me where you are. And then he just hangs up, and it's like, you just have to wait. And then honestly, I think he did do the right thing. He called his dad. He was like, listen, like, Carrie's in a bad spot. Be there for him.
Right. He's asked his parents multiple times to just take care of him.
He keeps seeing the signs that this is not right. Like, we keep thinking that this is going to be like what gets us out. But you have to remember, Carrie's already a world champion. He did it. He brought the belt home. They did it.
Yeah. He's going to, yeah.
Like, they kind of fulfilled the prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, and I guess this wasn't really shown in the movie that much, but like Kevin, I would assume at this point is like, okay, like, we did it. Somebody brought the belt home. I mean, this was Dad's dream. We did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can just kind of live kosher now. Like,
well,
we can put everybody on the ranch now. We can bring the whole family in. Like, what are we still wrestling for? What are we still competing for? But
more.
It's just exactly. And that's just the human way of thinking for a lot of people that get addicted to a dream like that, and then like you finally obtain it, and it's like, no, now we could do it again.
Well, it's really not their dream, because there's that's the first scene once Carrie gets the belt. The first scene when he gets the belt and he goes on that motorcycle ride, and he loses his leg because he gets in a motorcycle crash.
Well, what do you think?
So so Carrie gets home after he just won the belt, and so think about it. In real life, if you were to win a belt, or like in a movie that's trying to show you something that's triumphant, when you win a belt, you're going to be celebrating. It's going to be a party. It's going to be bright light celebration.
And what's he doing?
You don't even see him win. He's sitting at his kitchen table with his house. All the lights are off. Everybody's asleep, and he's just sitting there with his belt. It's almost like you're thinking like, that was it? This is it?
Mm-hmm.
I got there.
I thought the same thing.
I achieved my dad's dreams, which I think my entire life I thought were my dreams too. This is it. So he's like struggling with like understanding that he doesn't feel like anything. He's like, I feel the same as I did before. I just have this piece of metal now.
I miss my brother.
Yeah.
Like, I took it whenever I saw that scene, the way that I would be thinking about it. Like if I were in his shoes and I got this belt, which by the way, let's be honest, it's scripted. Come on. Like, I mean, sure, I guess you have to like get the crowd into it. You got to show, like you got to work hard for it, all that. But at the end of the day, you know that you didn't really earn it. Like,
yeah.
You know,
I mean, because you still have to be the best. I don't really know how they judge it, but you have to be the best to ascend to that level. You have to be like athletically the best. You have to be able to sell the crowd.
You have to win the crowd over to win that belt.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, I guess there's something to be said for that. But at the end of the day, like, they showed in the beginning of the movie, like, you know, like they're talking about like, all right, I'm going to be in the corner and then he's going to come after me. I'll meet him in the middle. He's going to lay me down and I'm going to get up and then, you know, all this like talk, like, but it's all about selling it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of the day, like he's pushed his body to the limit. You got to also remember that he was about to go to the Olympics where like you win because you win.
Right.
Doesn't matter what the crowd thinks of you. Like, it's a real...
You are competing.
It is a true triumph.
Best man win.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter if the crowd's booing you or if everybody in the crowd is standing up cheering for you. Like, that is your hard work going into it.
Right.
And so, he finally gets his belt. And to me, just seeing that scene, he's kind of just empty. He's like, I lost my brother. Because of this sport that I've dedicated to myself, dedicated my whole life to, and like I have to depend on like a crowd either booing or cheering me on, and just because they like me enough, that's why I have this belt, and then next year it could just go to somebody else because they don't like me anymore. I'd feel empty. I'd feel so empty because of that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, like what you said, I mean, he's just sitting in a dark room by himself. There's no after party. There's no nothing. He's just in his parents' kitchen with some beers.
You never even see his dad tell him he's proud of him.
Mm-mm.
Maybe you do. I don't remember.
I'm sure you do, but what does it matter?
It wasn't a big point in the movie where his dad was like, "Son, you did it. I'm proud of you."
Because
that was never a
here's
shot,
another thing to like think about. You know, there's 4 brothers. Do you ever once see them hang out with like outside friends?
Mm-mm.
Never. Like, it's them. It is those 4 guys. They are best friends. They're not hanging out with anybody from school. They're not like, especially with Kerry. He was, you know, training with Olympians. Like, you would think, like, after years and years of doing that, you make friends that, like, come around, all that. And granted, it's a movie.
Yeah, in real life, he probably did.
You know, but I think what the movie's pretty much showing is, like, no, it was them.
Well, very small detail I noticed in the beginning that proves your point, what you're saying. They didn't hang out with anybody. They just hung out with themselves, is whenever he's on his first date with his future wife. What's her name? The character's name.
Who?
His wife, Kevin's wife.
Pam.
They just say that. Pam. When he first meets Pam and they're on their date, you can tell that this is his first date. He's never been on a date. He didn't even know that he was trying to flirt with her. That wasn't even a thought in his head that a girl's coming up to him to get his autograph, and he's not even like responsive to the flirting or even trying to flirt, despite him being a fucking legend, looking jacked. Like, girls should be all over him, but he's so family oriented. And so on that first date, what do you choose to eat on a first date? Ribs. If you go on a first date, you are never going to pick ribs to eat.
Right.
So that's just I feel like that's a small character decision detail.
Like, I'm never taking my first date to Wingstop.
Exactly.
And getting some original hot wings.
And getting fucking sauce all over your face and licking your fingers. He's not thinking about it. He just wanted, ribs sound good. I'll get ribs. He's not thinking about going on a date, impressing the girl. He's never done it. That's a very small detail that told me he's never been on a date. He doesn't know what to do.
So this is going well.
This is go well. Maybe you should order ribs on a date because he married her. It worked out.
Yeah, I mean, crazy emotions.
Yeah,
in this movie. I mean,
the tragedies are brutal. And
I'll tell you what. I don't think I've seen a movie yet that's made me tear up on this podcast.
No.
No. This one got me. This is a tearjerker. This one really.
I'm trying to remember if I got emotional on any of the ones.
Sisu probably.
Yeah, that was a really deep one.
Yeah, when he fell out of the plane and still survived. You're like, I love you, legend.
So the tragedies are terrible, and an interesting choice the filmmakers made in this movie is after the time whenever Carrie won the belt and Carrie's sitting in the kitchen and decides to go for a ride, on his motorcycle and crashes. You don't see the crash, and you don't know he crashed until just a shot of him. He lost his foot. And you're like, oh shit, he crashed. Yeah. They didn't even make that out to be a big moment in this because that's such a minor tragedy compared to the rest of the story. So they really showed you that, yeah, he crashed his bike, but he survived and he lost his foot. That's the least worst thing that happened to this family.
I will say,
the least worst thing. How else would I say that? That was not the worst thing. The least important tragedy that happened to that family.
I will say, one of my favorite shots was that scene where it's the very beginning where it's just the motorcycle on the road and you just see
cars.
You don't see a car at all. And I guess that kind of just brings me back to, I'm from small town East Texas, back roads.
Yeah.
I'm used to a lot of guys like on motorcycles and whatnot. And
ripping it down the road.
Yeah. And like you see and you hear like that he's going faster and faster, and you can only see what the light can show you on an empty road. And so that scene like gave me so much anxiety because like all I remember like growing up, especially like driving down those back roads or whatever, is like a deer could just pop out in front of you, or any animal, or just a car pulling out in front of you. And so I'm like seeing this scene and I'm like, man, this is like kind of getting me going, like just kind of thinking about how terrifying that is, that he just keeps going faster and faster and faster and faster. And you hear the motorcycle. I mean, he's easily doing like, to me, I mean, I'm thinking it's like, oh, this guy's going like 120 because he's just on an open road.
Yeah.
He's had some drinks. And like that scene got to me just personally, just because I'm like, man, like I remember hearing so many stories. I remember just driving down a road and like life is good. You got the music blaring. You're this close to being home. You're just going to go to bed, and next thing you know, you see a deer. You see just some kind of object just like in front of you, and all of a sudden it's just like all of a sudden you got to punch those brakes. So I knew, I guess, like what they were getting at. It was like, because they don't even explain what causes the wreck.
No.
But I would assume like he thought he saw something. He could have seen a rabbit in the middle of the road. He could have seen like a stray dog, whatever. And then doesn't matter. He just avoids it. So what's up, Scott?
I mean, yeah, he is drunk. They kind of set it up that something bad is going to happen.
Right, because he's in the middle of the lane. You see him on the dotted lines, all that.
He doesn't look happy.
He's crying when it does the reverse shot.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of stumbles out of the house. And
So,
that loud, constant increase of the noise, you're like...
That was the scene right there that had my heart pumping the loudest, the fastest. I mean, I was just... like, just that anxiety, because, like, I mean, that one single shot because it feels like it's going forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just, like, yeah. So I mean,
And
it's
because
crazy.
you hear the gears switch up, but after I think the second or third time you hear it, there's no more shifts, but it just goes, just constantly is getting louder and louder and louder.
Are there implications, like in real life, that he tried to kill himself on that motorcycle wreck? Or is there anything, like, did he ever give a statement, like, as to how the wreck happened? Because there's no explanation. Is there any chance you could look that up, Scott?
Also, at some point, Scott, too, I want to know what the actual match between Ric Flair and
Kevin.
Yeah, it was Kevin,
Yeah.
and Kevin was. And I would like to say, too, what a horrible casting decision for Ric Flair. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's Ric Flair, bro.
Okay, so whenever he was doing, like, the initial TV interview, I was thinking, okay, I must not recognize him. But I bet when he gets in the ring, I bet it's going to be, like, some A-list actor. He's, like, the surprise.
Right?
Oh,
Dude.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is going to be, like, some
They already have Zac
A-list.
fucking Efron, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucking
It's
Ric
Ric
Flair.
Flair. Who was that guy?
And it didn't even look like Ric Flair.
Didn't sound anything like him.
He didn't sound badass like fucking dude.
Every
horrible
time
casting.
he kept doing the woo, I was just like, bro,
and
nothing like it.
I also want to we should pull up a promo of Ric Flair's to compare of how terrible that was.
We all know what it sounds like.
Yeah, they're bad. They're awesome. And also, the filmmaker should have coached the actor. The director should have coached the actor to act like you're coked out of your mind.
I just fixed it.
All those guys are on cocaine, just fucking. Like, have you ever seen Macho Man Randy Savage do a promo with the cream of the crop?
You're going nowhere.
The cream of the crop.
Yeah.
He's fucking just. He's so.
That's so
coked
funny.
out of his mind. It's hilarious.
1985.
Okay, let's see.
Champion of the world, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Ladies, woo, it is so hard to be humble when you're looking like Ric Flair. And to cap last night's events, as I walked out of New York City today, every woman within 100 yards was hollering, "Here comes the boss." And Bruce Springsteen was nowhere to be seen. Bruce Springsteen, if you can follow my act in New York, then you will be the boss. Now, let's talk about what's happening. Baltimore, Philadelphia, Magnum TA. You know, girls, I know you like it when I slide out of these clothes.
I don't think the impression was
You
that
see,
bad.
the
I didn't think it was
difference
good. It
between
wasn't
me
as intense.
and a lot of these so-called big-time stars is that I'm custom made with the clothes. I got the big Rolex watches. I got everything that's going on. I'm the best-looking man alive. I'm not Dusty Rhodes sitting in the control room
Yeah, so it's.
with a David Allen
I gotta
Coe.
totally disagree with Scott here. After seeing that and then thinking about the impression, I thought that impression sucked.
The only thing I can give credit to for the impression is the body language and how he acted with his body. Like, it was very similar to Ric Flair, but it was the voice for me they didn't make it happen.
I don't know. He was just talking about the same exact stuff from this random promo clip.
Yeah, for sure that.
That's what I said.
But just the voice and I wish they would have written in his like famous saying when he's like diamond ring wearing, limousine riding, jet flying. Like, he goes on this giant rant. That's like his thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
I wish they should have shown that. Like, that was like his thing.
Were either of y'all into WWE at one point in y'all's lives?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Really?
You never?
No, but I will give credit where credit's due. The WWE video games on like PlayStation and
dude.
Xbox, those were some of the best memories ever. And granted, I might have been some kind of like psychopath kid because I remember I played with like this one family on a ranch, ironically. It's just them.
Full circle.
It was 3 brothers in East Texas. And like first off, we would like box each other, like real. Like we would like just box each other. And then once we were like finally worn out, I was like, all right, let's play some WWE. Just
Some real hard asses out there on the ranch.
And then, but we had come together so collectively by beating up on each other that we didn't want to do it in the virtual world, that we would just go ham on the ref.
Yeah.
And it was
No
probably,
holes barred.
it was probably really scary, like if a mother had walked in, because like we're just like, yeah, get
Just
in.
jumping the ref.
Like we don't even care. The match has been going on for like 2 hours now,
Yeah.
and all we've done is just got like, you can get the sledgehammer out from under the ring, you can get the metal chair, you can get the foldable table.
Yep.
The beer pong table is, I
Yeah.
guess I'd call it now.
Yeah.
And you can just go ham on this ref, and like we just be giving high fives. Like,
Yeah.
So
I
so
grew up.
WWE video games are dope. But
Did you grow up
I
with
never,
this, Scott?
No, I never even knew about it until later in life.
Damn, dude. I grew up watching WWE as a kid.
Shout out our boy Jake Phillips.
Was he a WWE fan?
Oh,
nice.
like you wouldn't believe.
Nice.
Yeah. So but I will say, like, I wasn't into it, but I just remember for the video game, like, who was your favorite wrestler?
When I grew up, it was John Cena was the main guy, but Randy Orton was I love Randy Orton.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio was cool.
I love that little man just doing all these little spins and turns, flips on everybody. He would go through people's legs and then end them up in a chokehold.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's tight.
Yeah. You know, Rey Mysterio was like, he's always like a teammate with the Big Show. It was like this gigantic human that, and obviously Rey Mysterio was so short. So like they were like the duo. It was always Rey Mysterio and the Big Show.
Also, I loved the mystery. You didn't know what he looked like.
Right.
Or at least as a kid. I'm sure obviously you could just look up what he looks like.
Yeah.
But
There's been a few times, I think one time I've seen him where they like ripped his mask off finally. And it was like, oh my God.
right? I'm sure that was like a very crazy moment.
Yes.
Like as a kid, you're just like, Ray.
So growing up as a kid, there's no even thought until somebody tells you that this is fake. So you're just loving it. It's just so awesome watching these guys. Because it's similar to kind of like the UFC almost, to where like the fan favorites get more fights.
Like, what if we come to find out in like 10, 15 years that UFC fights have just been fake this entire time?
That would suck.
But it makes you wonder. During this time, because what time period is this happening? 70s, 80s?
70s and 80s. For sure the 80s. The last fight was in the 80s against Ric Flair. It was 86.
Right, okay. Do they think it's real? Or do they know it's fake? And
Who?
the crowd, just everybody.
It's mixed, I'm sure. They know it's... Some people think it's real. I mean, it's real in the fact that they're actually doing the stuff, and they're actually kind of, again, like we say, sacrificing their bodies.
It does take athleticism to do like the moves that they're doing.
But the fights are rigged, yeah.
Right. But do they know that at this point?
I think it's always been known, to be
Okay.
honest. I don't know. I don't know.
But what if?
I was born in 2000.
Like, what if we're 40 years old and our kids are making fun of us because we used to bet so much money on UFC fights?
Yeah. But so growing up as a kid watching them, you're not thinking about it being staged.
It just looks cool.
It's just awesome. And so, comparing that to the movie, there's only a few select times where they give you that behind the scenes look of it being fake. Like the beginning, you get to see the camaraderie of like them planning the match. It's fun. Like, all right, yeah, we'll do that. All right, let's go. And they go do their fight. And then at the end, whenever Ric Flair comes in, after it's like this huge emotional moment, Ric Flair's like, oh, boy, you're tough. He's like, I'll give you a rematch any day of the week. That was fun.
Yeah.
Because it's a job for Ric Flair. He's the best of the best. This is fun for him. And so throughout the whole movie, they never show you that it's fake. Obviously, you see the punches that they're not hitting. They're just hitting him with the forearm. And obviously, you can see the moves they're doing are very much wrestler moves, but they never give you the behind the scenes at the stage. Who is it decided on? It's always as the viewer watched it. They're not really they're not ruining the show.
Yes. But I will say that I think the movie did a good job of showing, like, obviously, when it's staged, like in a fight, and you're thinking, okay, like, in real life, like, in this time, you can tell that it's kind of fake. But there were times in the movie where they, like, obviously told the actors, like, okay, now it's time to make this look like, okay, is he really doing this? Did he really just punch you in the face? did he really just iron claw you to the fact that you're bleeding out of your scalp?
Did that actually hurt you? Just fucking... No way could that hurt.
I tested that on myself in the theater.
Did you really?
Did it hurt? Could you hurt yourself?
No.
Squeeze my head.
No, I could do it.
Could you?
I could do it.
Could you get the temples?
Yeah, you have to get the temples. Scott, go for the temple.
Squeeze his head. You gotta get wide.
Like, okay.
The iron. Hey,
Look,
have an iron claw.
Okay, so what I just did right there is like I went thumb temple here, and then I can wrap it right here, and then if you
But they weren't that low. It was like this. On the,
I know. So then obviously it's pinky here. Come here. Come here. So what's good? Oh, big head.
I have a big head. Yep. Yes.
So okay, I'm gonna have to do it with two hands.
Let me do it to you.
No. But like, listen.
Just do it with one. Do it with one hand.
No. But like, this is what it's supposed
Sure,
to feel like.
but that's not what they did. They went on the top.
They must have had the family cursed big hands. Here, come do it to me.
It's like I think
could hurt. See?
No, that could hurt.
It
On
could
the temples
hurt.
and plus on the top. When I'm on the
if you
top,
were able to get your whole hand like from temple to temple, it hurts.
we should all judge each other, see who can do the hardest iron claw.
Come here, Scott.
I think I got you beat.
So, holy shit, what were we talking about?
It being fake.
Yeah. Okay. So, obviously, I'm curious to see like that specific Ric Flair interview that they did after Kevin had just lost two brothers at this point, and then his other brother is an amputee, and he's talking that much shit, calling him daddy's boy. Like, dude,
This is the one.
1985 Ric Flair promo on Kevin Von Erich.
Ooh,
It
let's
has
watch
to be,
it. This
yeah.
one.
Now, May 5th, Texas Stadium. We've been talking about it now for a couple of weeks. Let's just go over it one more time. You see the Von Erichs figure they got Ric Flair trapped. The National Wrestling Alliance seems to be reinforcing every claim, reinforcing everything that the Von Erichs want in Texas Stadium. They got me defending the World Heavyweight Championship in a match that says if I get disqualified for any reason whatsoever, Kevin Von Erich is the new World Heavyweight Champion. You see, they figured that because Kerry Von Erich had a big day a year ago, that his brother isn't going to take second best in the Von Erich family. He's going to rise to the occasion. He's going to make May 5th a day to remember forever and ever. That means he's got to beat me. And he's going to get in that ring. He's not going to let anybody down. See, I understand what's coming down now. But I got a few surprises for you. You see, when you're talking about Ric Flair, you're talking about the best that professional wrestling has to offer. And I'm telling you right now, the contract is signed. And I'm going to be there May 5th. And I don't care if there's 60,000 people there cheering for Von Erich. He still has to beat me. I don't think he can. I don't like the situation at all, but I don't think he can beat me. And I'll tell you what else. I'm involved in that tag match now. $100,000 to the winning team. A new Lincoln
All right,
Continental.
but
man
you see what I mean?
scored-
Like Ric Flair's got it. He's trying to talk deep. He's like giving that. He's getting raspy. The other guy that played Ric Flair was
Kinda
going more to
high-pitched.
the higher end. It's
Yeah.
like that's not what Ric Flair did.
Yeah. So
Be
okay,
Ric Flair.
but seeing that clip, it just makes me feel a little bit better because he never mentions like daddy's boy. He never
Right.
mentions like family
I'm sure-
tragedy.
In,
Like
in all reality, Ric Flair
obviously
and,
you're
and
dramatizing.
Kevin,
yeah. So like, I think that's why there's probably the whole in the locker room. He's like, "Oh, you're crazy.
You realize
wanna
it's
get a
just
drink?"
business. Yeah, it's just business.
And he's like, "You were great out there." Like, and then okay, so I was trying to get to this point earlier, but I was thinking, like, if that scene were real, so I don't know how real it is. Like, if Ric Flair really walked in that locker room and said, "Hey, you want to get a drink with me? Like, come out with me," and Kevin does it, maybe his career is totally different. Maybe Ric Flair's like, dude, I'll take you to the top.
Yeah, like the rematch of a lifetime.
Yeah,
the
like
battle
you
of a
have a
lifetime.
crazy fucking story. Again, it's off the movie. I didn't do my research. I don't know exactly it, like, did Kevin really did he make him bleed from his scalp? And so if he's like offering him like, yo, come have a drink with me, let's talk about how we could make your career better, because the whole world is probably on your side because of the fact that you've lost some brothers that you've been in the ring with. And if that's the case, we can market that, but he didn't take the drink.
Yeah.
But, it's all, was that even real? Did he really go in that locker room?
I read that no, he wouldn't have gone in the locker room. And also when they bleed, they have a little razor blade. They make themselves bleed.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that whole scene is just scratched off.
He could have been bleeding, but it's not from the Iron Claw. It was from the Iron Claw.
Right. Okay.
He nicked himself with the razor blade in his hair.
But again, it's one of those scenes in the movie where like you're watching it and you're like, oh shit, like is he actually punching Ric Flair? Did he actually just need Ric Flair in the ribs? That's what I'm thinking, at least. Because you're thinking like he doesn't care anymore. He's tired of life just being staged for him. He's thinking, fuck this guy because of this interview. Like,
yeah.
my life is in shambles right now. I don't even want to be here. Does his rage really just overcome him? And does he really like hurt Ric Flair?
That's why I want to watch that.
And is Ric Flair really just like that good of a showsman that he can just like kind of play it off and like even understand it? But
I think so. He was one of the best of the best.
Doesn't matter. Scott just debunked it, so who cares what I have to say?
But Ric Flair was a huge partier. And he really was about the ladies.
I said, where can we get fucked up around here?
He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was telling stories about like what they did, because they would fight 300 times a year. 300 days out of the year, they wrestled.
Doesn't matter if it's staged.
That's insane.
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
insane. So they were obviously on roids. He was working out every day. He might have said twice a day, but every night he's getting fucked up, having ladies surround him, just getting hammered, partying like crazy. I mean, you hear the stories of those old wrestlers. It was Jake the Snake Roberts, who's another one of those old school wrestlers, was also on Joe Rogan's podcast that I listened to. And these guys were just like wild men. I mean, they're professional wrestlers, which is kind of like a weirder kind of like, you got nothing else left in life if you're going to become a professional wrestler, where you're just going to jump off the ropes, just fucking drilling people, and like you're going to travel the road 300 days a year. You're going to make shit money for a majority of your life unless you make it to the WWF back then. Mm-hmm. So these guys just fucking partied. They lived the life.
Not going to lie. So, I mean, let's we can go back to our reality here. We were talking about earlier before the podcast about like just being hungover.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. You were telling me about how you were so hungover whenever.
Yeah.
And it was tough to just take a shower.
Yeah.
But then you lay down for a little bit and then you realize that you're about to do something that you just love. And it's easy to get up for something like that. Well, for these guys, I feel like that's like the best hangover cure in the world. Like you get your shit rocked, then you go party, then you wake up the next day. What better hangover cure than to have somebody jump off a rope and just pound you to the floor and bring you right back to reality? And it's like, oh yeah, you know what? Not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, but
in a way, like I granted, like if I was hungover, that probably doesn't sound like the best thing in the world.
But they also probably worked it out in the morning. They got their workout in the morning.
Well, I mean, Kerry kind of shows you. I mean, he's snorting something.
Yeah, I mean, they're all on drugs. They're all going crazy.
Exactly, and they do that. They show that so quickly. I remember watching the movie. I looked at Scott because at one point they you know, they're riding high on success, and they're going to these bars, and they're partying hard, and like you see, honestly, up till this movie, it's been kind of just PG-13. It's been good. Like you just see these, they're family-oriented men. Their first dates are getting ribs with women, and then all of a sudden, they're at this bar, and David is crashing into tables because he's so drunk because he just flew off the bar, and then you see Carrie in the corner just doing cocaine out of nowhere.
And keg stands.
Yeah, keg stands. Well, that was more of like that's still, to me, like kind of PG-13. It's like, all right, little high school party.
Sure.
No big deal. But then you see him like doing cocaine off of like a nice plate in a bar.
Yeah.
And then you see kind of what you're saying, like the progression of like when they wake up the next day, like you see somebody shooting a needle up their thigh or up their arm. It doesn't matter.
That was Dave.
It was all three of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, obviously.
It doesn't matter what
Efron.
it doesn't show a specific person. What it's doing is showing that this was the lifestyle of a wrestler.
Yeah.
That was trying to make it big on the road.
Yeah.
Because what's a great way to like win fans? And I think this always will tell the testament of times is interacting with fans. And like, you're a showman. You live life to the fullest. Doesn't matter if you're in the wrestling ring. Doesn't matter if you're at a bar. Like, you're going to be the one that's going to be like the stud at all times. Obviously, that's really hard to do. And so what helps with that? Drugs.
Yep. And I felt like it was pretty respectful too for them to honor the family and just kind of brush
they didn't go too hard on it.
No, they're not going to show the drug use and make them out to be bad, but they just showed it because that's a fact. They obviously were doing drugs. Let's just show it in like the background, but they're not like focusing like drugs was their downfall.
Yeah, so I'll agree with that. I liked that they didn't like overemphasize that, because it doesn't take a genius to just look at the TV screen and realize that these insanely jacked dudes who have veins popping out of their cheekbones are obviously on something.
Okay, now that we're on this topic, can you go, Scott, to Randy Savage, Cream of the Crop? This is my favorite old... Yep, that one. This is my favorite old WWE promo.
The Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. It's a day that I'm certain my guest at this time will not forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing
means nothing, man.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah. Macho Madness, yeah, has got more to offer than President Jack Tunney thinks that I got. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something right now. Cards stacked against the Macho Man Randy Savage in WrestleMania 3. Yeah, let me say it, yeah. Let me say it out loud. And let me point to the president of the World Wrestling Federation that the Macho Man Randy Savage is not happy with your decision, yeah. I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Wait a minute,
and there is no doubt about it, yeah. You, Mean Gene Okerlund, you know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, wait a minute, though, Randy. I've got to ask you very seriously.
All right,
Do you
see that? Is that not just like scream?
Drugs. Well, I mean,
that's Heather Swanson.
Three times. 3 times he screams drugs. That is cocaine.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
That is cocaine in a zippy, and he is on the brink of an overdose. If anything, you could make the argument he's on the perfect high.
He's on live TV talking about the cream of the crop.
And he goes crazy, but then he kind of gets down to business with you, but then he's back. Kind of impressive. So,
and that's part of the job too. You have to be entertaining and be able to do these promos. That's the whole point of how you sell the show. You got to be this fucking wild.
You know what's fucked up is even after seeing that movie, that speech just got me ready.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
You'll never believe me, but here I am. I'm ready to go. And then he's just screaming. He's not. He's got another zippy. He puts it in the suit coat of another man, and then all of a sudden he's just ready.
Those are coffee creamers.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
I'll
the
tell you
cream, the cream of the crop. He's like pulling out a bunch of. If you watch that whole thing, he pulls out like 6 more out of nowhere. Like it's like a magic trick. He keeps like pulling them out. You're like, where's he getting all these coffee creamers?
Well, let me tell you something. In modern era, to a guy like me that doesn't know anything about wrestling, and hearing the way that he was talking, that's cocaine.
Yeah.
That is just cocaine that he just keeps pulling out.
Have you seen the South Park episode with Heather Swanson?
Oh yeah,
World's strongest.
strongest woman alive.
Yeah, they had the perfect impersonation of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah. So,
All right, it's probably about time to rate this thing.
wow, I can't believe it. But I guess you're right.
Okay, Scott, lock it in.
I'm going to give this an 8 because I think it was a perfect movie for a true story movie. It was very naturalistic, still creative with like the shots and everything. But yeah, just very natural, had every human emotion. 8.
Gray? Okay. I am going to give it, and I'm going to go 8.5. I'm going 8.5. Because I felt like it did a great job of, you bought into the boys. You loved the boys. The brothers together was awesome. And then we didn't even talk about the montage. We got to talk about that after we give our scores. The montage is pretty cool. But they build you up, you feel about it, but you also can sense this underlying tragedy that's going to happen. Plus, if you know the history of the story, you know it's coming. So they build it up, and then they just tear it down. And it's sad at the end. It's brutal watching Kevin go through this and him reflecting on his life. But then I love how they ended on a good note, because Kevin's still alive. He's got a family. And it ended up being a happy ending for the family, because now Kevin built a gigantic family, a giant legacy for himself, and they all live together.
Curse is broken.
Curse is broken. So 8.5. You have to say it in Macho Man Randy Savage, though.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
9? Nice.
I'll give it a 9.
Wow.
I think any movie that can really tap in, because okay, sure, I know this is supposed to be like my personal score, but I'll be honest, the guy sitting to my right in this movie, I saw him and his wife, girlfriend, whatever, they were crying. I think any movie that can bring that kind of emotion out of a theater, because even like when we went to the restroom after and we were leaving, like I heard them being like, oh my God, like that was tough. You know, that was rough. I'll give it a 9, but I will say this, like, I can watch that movie maybe a few more times just because, I mean, it got to me.
I'm watching this movie quite a few more times, probably.
Yeah, respect. Absolutely. I mean, I think it definitely, especially if you're like a family person, it'll get to you and make you want to like hug your loved ones a little bit more, which is always just a great feeling to get. I'll give it a 9, but that was a tough watch. It was a tough watch for me. So
I was really worried you were going to be like, man, it's such a good movie. I loved it. Like, it made me cry. 6.
6. Yeah, I love this movie. I love the message of it.
Mm-hmm. I thought I felt like, I don't know the history of the story as well as people that lived it and were huge fans of it, but from my understanding of it, it seemed like it told that history and that story as best as it possibly could have.
Yeah.
There's nothing I really don't have any critiques, to be honest with you. The only critique I would have had was like whatever he was dreaming about his brother going to heaven. And so he was hugging his brother, and then he was hugging his brother on the dead dinner table, his dead brother on the dinner table, and then it cuts to his brother going to heaven on the boat, putting his little coin down on the boat to do his passage to the afterlife, and then he sees his brothers. I'm like, I wish they didn't really show that. Like, why show that? But then you realize that's what he was Kevin thinking about. I'm so glad my brother He's thinking about his brothers finally with my brothers, and he's might be the only one that knows his older brother or remembers his older brother.
Yep.
So he can only remember a young boy, and he remembers his brothers how they were. He remembers his brother as a champion. So you realize it's Kevin's dream, and so that was my only gonna be criticism, but it ended up not being.
I guess my criticism is I'll get down to the brass tacks here, but I mean, Zac Efron's putting on the performance of a lifetime. You know, when he's watching his little sons play football like his brothers used to do, and you know, he's crying his eyes out, he's bawling. You know, it's his first time crying. You know, at least cinematically, it's his first time crying.
Like ever or in the movie?
In the movie. Like, you never see him cry.
Right,
you always see him, like, even when he's really depressed, he'll just lay there. And you're like, damn. Obviously, that is what a human would do if you lose that many people that you truly love. So then he's watching his wimpy little sons play this football game. And then they come up to him and they're like, hey, Daddy, like, what's wrong? Like, are you crying? Like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm sorry, boys. I shouldn't be doing this. And then they're like, well, we'll be your brothers. Fuck that delivery.
They're children.
I don't give a damn.
He also said, I used to be a brother. And
That was great delivery on Zac Efron's part. I have no shame in this take either. I have no shame in it. Zac Efron's just out there acting his ass,
them kids.
acting his ass off, and you got these kids delivering these soft lines like, well, we'll be your brothers. And I'm like, dude, you get any like Disney kid star on that scene, I'm bawling my eyes out. But I hear these just little cheap ass kid ass actors just saying all that, and
My other
that's
criticism,
all I got to say.
my other criticism is Ric
great
Flair's
movie.
casting. Ric Flair's actor was trash. Trash.
I could have done that. You could have done that.
Dude, I would have loved to do that.
You could have done that. We could have given you the big blonde hair. Give me a good old Ric Flair.
Honest-
Woo!
Well, no, I can't. I don't know if I could.
Woo! Woo!
So what I was gonna say is the montage. Those last final thoughts before we wrap this thing up. I love a good montage, and I felt like that montage of them rising to the fame was so fucking cool. Tom Petty,
Bloodsport.
not Tom Petty. No, what's it called? Tom Sawyer.
No, I'm just saying, like, Bloodsport montage. Oh. If they got one thing right, that's a flash in the pan right there. But
That was a good emotional movie that we started crying on. Really pulled the heartstrings on Bloodsport. Really deep movie there. triple kick.
anyways, sorry.
But the montage, I loved it. Them with the music, they're finally getting together. They're getting success. Opens up with them with their theme music going out, walking out together as brothers, and them just fucking kicking ass.
They
Just
slide in that
champions.
ring.
Oh my
They
gosh.
they all three just hit that triple kick.
Dude, so cool. So cool.
What's up, Scott?
I think my favorite shot was when he's sad, bouncing back.
Yes.
On the ropes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I remember watching that scene, and I remember thinking, like, if you're Zac Efron doing that scene, you're thinking, damn, are we really about to do this, like, what, like 15 times? And it's like, dude, no. Like, you're not overdoing it. You're about to show a very pivotal, emotional moment of this movie. Like, just keep going. Keep going. Like, they probably told him, they were like, listen, I mean, you're jacked up. You're in as shape as any human being
You got
could
a little
possibly
You
be.
got a little bit of roid rage.
Yeah, like, just go as long as you can, but, like, let's shoot for 30. Go 30 times. And it's one of those things where, like, the more you see him keep going, the more you see
The power
get
build.
pissed off,
Each
yeah.
time it's just a little harder, a little harder.
Like, you get
little
more
harder.
into it because you're like, dude, like, he's so fucked up. He's so sad. and like this is his therapy.
But it also shows too that you can feel the pain he's going through, and it also shows he understands he is the last hope to fulfill his family's destiny, what he's been led to believe his whole life. This is his family's destiny. Yeah. So he is now like, okay, it's time to commit fully. And again, like I was saying, he's now sacrificing his body because that shot didn't show his head. And then when he's practicing the back flops.
See, it's funny. Scott's favorite shot was him going against the ropes. My favorite shot was him just
doing the back falls. And I love when it cut out and you can still hear the
yeah, that was easily my favorite shot because like at that point I'm so emotionally invested in it and I'm just so hurt and I'm so mad that he's like not able to express it like to his wife because he doesn't know how. He sure as hell can't go to his parents. Like that is where he expresses it because like he remembers doing that with his brothers. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was just like kind of this angry red-filled rage of like poetic justice.
It's red too. The shot's red too.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, damn, like he's mad, and like it doesn't matter what
so
kind of pain he feels right now. It is nothing close to the level of him losing his brothers.
Yeah, it shows the pain he's going through, the frustration he's fighting through as he's pushing himself. It shows his willingness to sacrifice his body, and it shows his now pure dedication to making his brothers proud and being the last brother to fulfill the destiny that they've all been striving for.
It was a beautiful movie.
This is your highest score or no?
Nah, maybe. We'd have to do research, but I'm sure I've given
you gave Everything Everywhere All at Once a pretty high one, but maybe that was in the 8s.
That one got me too. Just Be a Rock.
Just Be a Rock. That's not how we can't end this on Just Be a Rock. We're talking about Iron Claw. Any final words before we wrap this thing up? Any last notes you had on the movie or any last thoughts?
A good movie. Whether you know what the story is or not, I think they capture it as perfect as they could. I think they did the real family real justice. So I'll give it that.
Scott, do you have any final thoughts? No? I like how we were sitting in the movie theater and I had popcorn and I was like, Scott, you want some? And he fucking throws up the Iron Claw and fucking grabs a handful of popcorn. All right. I don't have any final words either, so if you haven't seen this movie, highly recommend you guys watch it.
Highly.
See it soon if you can while it's in the theaters. If not, watch it at home because it's a great movie to watch. And thank you guys for listening. Tune in next week on the CRWN Cinema Podcast where we'll watch, I don't know, something else.
It'll be good.
It'll be good. All right, and we're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check in the mail, I'll have enough for